Hi everyone, welcome to the Audit and Attestation class. This is in continuation of part 1 of the SOX Act 2002 which we have studied in the previous video. So in this video we will be understanding in detail Title 1 of the SOX Act 2002, that is PCAOB, right? In this we have subtitle 101 to 109. So let's dive into for more detail of PCAOB Title 1 of the SOX Act 2002. Let's jump into it.
So now jumping into the first one, Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So here like SOX 101. So this is, you can say, SOX section 101 also, that establish an administration provision. So SOX 101 is an establishment and administrative provision set forth the power of PCAOB. So we'll be discussing in detail what are the power of PCAOB. At high level, if you say, you can say registration of any public accounting firm is the power of PCAOB. Reviewing the work of, you can say, public accounting firm is also power of PCAOB. Imposing any penalty on the public accounting firm is also within the power of PCAOB. Doing inspection of the public accounting firm is also being in the power of the PCAOB. So we'll be discussing more in detail about the power of PCAOB, but section SOX 101 that establish and administer the provision for the power of the PCAOB. So whatever the power has been given under the SOX to the PCAOB is being defined in SOX 101. Right. Second is SOX 102. SOX 102 is the registration with the board. That means CPA firm, public accounting firm, registration requirement with the PCAOB. So SOX 102 lay down the registration requirement of the CPA firm, of the public accounting firm with the PCAOB. So what are the requirement, what all information as a CPA firm we need to provide when we are registering ourselves with the PCAOB, and when exactly we need to register ourselves, when it is mandatory for us to register with the PCAOB. First one is we need to provide the information of all the issuers' name for which we are auditing their financial statement, for which we are providing audit reports to all the issuers. So we need to provide this information every year. So we need to give them a list of our client who are public entities or who are issuers to the PCAOB. So what all information we need to provide? Name of the company which is issuer, and the year for which we have been engaged to provide the audit report, and expectation in the current year also. Are we providing the audit service in current year as well? Right. Second, we need to provide them information on the annual fees which we have received from each issuer. So this is complete table generally goes in a required format of the PCAOB registration every year, and we need to give them a declaration as well that the information which we are providing as a CPA firm is true and to the best of our knowledge, right? So in this we'll be providing them like name of the issuer. Second column will be providing the annual audit fees which we have received from the respective issuer, and in third column we'll be providing them non-audit services. What all non-audit services we are providing, and what are the fees we have charged for the non-audit service, and other accounting services if we have provided to any of the issuer, then what are those services and how much money we have charged for it. That means, for example, if you are doing an audit of, let's say, Amazon, so you are doing audit of, let's say, Amazon, Facebook, or maybe Intel, or maybe Tesla. So these are 4 companies for which you are doing audit. So what all information you'll be providing to the PCAOB? The name of all these company, right? And the audit services for which financial year you are providing, right? And how much audit fees you are charging for them, right? And what all non-audit service you are providing. Let's say you are providing any attestation, turnover attestation certificate. Let's say you are providing any agreed upon procedure. You are providing quarterly reviews as well, right? So what all other non-audit services you are providing, right? So you need to give the detail of that as well as how much fees you have charged. Right. For example, you are providing any consultation services as well for any accounting matter. So that comes in other accounting services, right? And how much fees you have charged for those advisory service, right? Next is other current financial information of the firm, which board may request. So board here, board means PCAOB, Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So wherever in this SOX we will be asking about board, this is not the company board, this is Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, right? Please do not get confused. Board means board of director. Here the board means PCAOB basically, right? So the PCAOB may request additional information to the respective issuers as and when needed. So those information also are required to provide by the public company public accounting firms to the PCAOB. Next is statement of firm quality control policies for its accounting and auditing practice. So your internal quality controls and internal quality policies and procedure, that also you need to submit to the PCAOB. Like for example, to all your staff, you encourage to do the CPA, right? So anyone like who is in manager and above position is being a qualified CPA, right? And you have a policy like there is always be a maker and checker. That means if somebody is performing the audit work, senior is mandatorily reviewing the work, right? So those all are from quality standard which you maintain. And you can say within the firm, like every year you provide like, let's say 50 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours of training to your staff, right? These all are firm policies, right? And these all are quality control system as well in your CPA firm. So all those information, what all quality control standard you have, what all quality control policies and procedure you have in your CPA firm, those all information you need to provide to the PCAOB as well, right? After that, in addition to that, sorry, you need to provide them the list of name along with the license number of all CPAs working in your firm. So accountant here mean is CPA. So in US, generally like accountant and CPA are interchangeable work. So if you've seen like anyone, for example, if you visit to US and you started working over there, don't feel bad if they ask you like, are you an accountant? So the answer would be yes. After CPA, we all are like certified public accountant, right? So in India, we call it chartered accountant, or we feel it not so good if somebody asks us to be an accountant. But in US, it's very much common. Like they'll ask you an accountant instead of CPA as well, right? Next information which you need to provide to the PCAOB is information regarding criminal, civil, administrative, disciplinary proceeding against the firm and to the individual CPA who is a partner in the firm in connection with any audit report which you have signed. So if there is any proceeding going against the firm or the respective partner, that also you need to disclose and provide the information to the PCAOB. Have you heard about like Satyam scam back in 2008?
Sir.
Have you heard about it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Which company was involved? Which firm?
PwC.
Hmm.
PwC.
Right. And who was the auditor for the Lehman Brothers?
Some Gopi, his name starts with G, sir. Gopinath something.
Yeah. And any idea who was the auditor for Lehman Brothers?
General Motors. Yeah,
No,
don't know.
no. General Motors is a company.
Was it EY?
Not. Fortunately not.
Luckily.
I also do not have idea. Maybe you can Google it. Who is the auditor of Lehman Brothers back in 2008? Right. For example, like let's say like PwC has done the audit of Satyam, right? And they have some civil proceeding or administrative proceedings going against them. So they need to provide this information to the PCAOB, right? Same way, like I do not know like who was the auditor of Lehman Brothers when this meltdown, but if like any civil proceeding or any PCAOB proceeding or any like AICPA proceeding is going on against the firm, then it's mandatory requirement for the firm to provide those information to the PCAOB. Next is copy of periodic annual disclosure filed by the issuer. So who all companies you are doing the audit, who all issuers for whom you are doing the audit. So every issuer's financial statement along with the audit report you need to submit with the SEC and disclosing if there is any disagreement between the management and the CPA, right? That also you need to provide the information to the management, to the PCAOB. So for example, if there is a disagreement for any material item between the CPA firm and the company, then I'm sure it would have been reported in their auditor reports, right? So all those material disagreement basically between the firm, CPA firm, and the company for which they are doing the audit is being mandatorily required to be disclosed separately and provide separate information to the PCAOB. It would be there in the audit report or in the ICFR report, but in addition to those audit reports, they specifically need to provide the detail to the PCAOB on that as well. Next is consent from the firm to cooperate and comply with the request made by the PCAOB. So we need to sign a consent form to the PCAOB. So whenever they need any additional information, so we'll be providing them on a need basis. And whenever they want to do any inspection of any of our audit conduct or any CPA firm quality control standard, they are more than welcome to do that, right? Firm must submit annual reports and pay registration and annual fee to the PCAOB as well. So in addition to that, they need to submit their own annual report as well and pay the registration fees and annual renewal fees to the PCAOB as well. And then any other information that board request. Board here means PCAOB, right? So these all are the requirement of SOX 102, in which like certain information as a CPA firm we need to provide to the PCAOB to get ourselves registered with the PCAOB. Why registration with the PCAOB is mandatory for a CPA firm?
Because if not registered, they can't do the audit of an issuer.
Yes, absolutely true. To conduct the audit of any issuer company, a CPA firm mandatorily have to register themselves with the PCAOB, right? If they are not registered with the PCAOB, they cannot do the audit and attestation services of any listed company, of any issuer, of any public company, right? Any doubt here on the registration with the board?
Sir, in point H, consent from firm to corporate, so it's not corporate, I think. In point H.
Consent from the firm
to corporate or corporate, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Sandeep.
Sir, a quick question on point G.
Yes.
When we say that copies of periodic annual disclosure filed by an issuer with the SEC disclosing the accounting disagreement, so does that mean for all the issuer that the accounting firm is auditing, if there are any disagreements, they have to kind of submit that with the PCAOB as well? Like
yes,
for let's say if it's okay, for let's say if there were five disconnects, they will have to submit for all of those.
Yes, all the material disconnect between the firm and the client.
Okay.
And client wise they need to submit, like with which client they have what disagreement and why they feel that their position is right. So they need to give the explanation as well in the respective form. Okay, so next one is SOX 103, auditing, quality control and independent standards and rules. Auditing, quality control, independent standard and rules. So PCAOB has authority to set, amend and modify the auditing, quality controls and ethics standards for the registered public accounting firm. So here you need to keep in mind, so PCAOB will be setting up the rules and regulation only and only for those CPA and CPA firm who are conducting the audit of public company. They have nothing to do with non-public company, nothing to do with non-issuer, right? So whenever it comes in your question as an issuer, then you need to keep in mind SEC rules and PCAOB requirements, right? If it is a non-issuer, then plain vanilla AICP rules and regulations, right? And what are the PCAOB rules and regulations or PCAOB standards on this quality controls, auditing, or you can say independent standard? So like we discussed earlier also, so initially like PCAOB take the AICPA standard as the base, and on top of that they will add additional requirement for the issuers. So generally, whether it's like governmental audit, in that also we have seen, right? So AICPA rules and regulations, whether it's a government audit, they also consider as a base GAO, or whether it's a listed company, PCAOB also consider that as a base, because AICPA has already built up something good for different category of the companies, right? What they do, whether it's like government accountability office or the PCAOB, they add on that AICPA, which the AICPA has already made the base. Here also, the PCAOB will be adding additional requirement on the top of AICPA requirement for the code of conduct, code of ethics, ethics standard, independence rules, quality control standard, which we have discussed in our earlier class, right? So here you just need to keep in mind, so for when you are doing like audit of SEC, you need to comply with the AICPA rules and regulation, everything. On top of that, whatever the additional requirement SEC or PCAOB has mentioned, you need to comply with that, right? And
so, sir, one question here. So you are saying that PCAOB prescribe only the additional requirement, not the whole standard?
Yes.
Okay. So if I go into any PCAOB standard, it will say that whatever AICP is saying, you have to do it, plus you have to do this additionally.
Yes, absolutely true. So they adopted AICPA auditing standard, they have adopted a FASB accounting standard, and on that they have added some additional requirements.
Okay.
Right. SOX 104.
Sir, but if there is any conflict, PCAOB standards will override AICPA standards also.
Yeah, so that's a general, you can say, application of law. When there is a specific law, you need to apply that specific law over the general law. So wherever PCAOB has given the guidance, wherever PCAOB have written any rule, standards for the listed company, and if that rule or standard is in conflict with the any AICPA rule or regulation, then to conduct the audit of the listed company, you need to follow PCAOB specific rules and regulation, which will be override the AICPA rules and regulation. Absolutely true. Yeah. Thanks, Sandeep. Any doubt here? So far, so good. Okay. Yes. Next one is SOX 104, inspection of registered public accounting firm. So when PCAOB can conduct the inspection for the public accounting firm or a CPA firm, so the rule is annually. Annually they conduct the audit for more than 100 issuers. So if the CPA firm is as big as like EY, PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, Grant Thornton, BDO, who conduct the audit of more than 100 issuers, then to those firms, PCAOB conduct the inspection every year, right? And for small firm who conduct less than 100 issuers audit in a year, for them every 3 years, PCAOB conduct the inspection. So if the firm is so big, they are doing the audit of more than 100 issuers every year. For them, PCAOB will be conducting their inspection every year. Not for all the company, they do on sample basis, right? So for example, let's say PwC, EY or KPMG or Deloitte, they are doing like audit of more than 100 issuers every year. So PCAOB will not be conducting the inspection for all the 100 plus issuers audit which they have done. So they have certain criteria to identify and select the engagement on a sample basis. Same way how you, as an auditor, you have criteria to select the sample when you do the testing of, let's say, sales, purchase, payroll, right? When you conduct the testing of the respective financial statement line item. Same way, PCAOB also have certain criteria set forth. So those criteria also will be discussing in detail, right? So basis those criteria, they select the sample, and to those sample entities audit, they do the inspection and they do the review for the respective auditor. Make sense?
Sir, just small doubt, sir. It is mentioned as more than 100 and less than 100. If it is equal to 100, just
then it is more than 100. It's considered
more than 100. It's like more than or equal to 100. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Right. Next is PCAOB tests firm's quality control system and provide the written report. Right. Have any of you heard about PCAOB inspection or participated in PCAOB inspection? Any experience you guys have?
Sir, we heard it from you only.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I've heard about it, never been a part of it, luckily.
Yes, I've been to like the PCAOB inspection 3 times in my life. Recently when I was with EY US in the General Motors audit. So first time I faced PCAOB back in 2010 when I was auditing Goodyear. Then second experience I have back in 2013 when I was auditing People Product Limited, and then third finally I got an experience when I was with EY US auditing General Motors. So we'll be discussing what are the criteria like PCAOB keep, like same way like how do you select the samples when you are conducting the financial statement audit. Same way PCAOB also have certain set criteria in terms of volume, in terms of value, in terms of you can say market share. So those all things they consider when they are selecting any entity to conduct the review of the audit procedure performed. And the firm quality control standard is something which is common, and every year they do for the CPA firm who conduct the audit for more than 100 issuers, and every 3 years for less than 100 issuers. Next is SOX 105, investigation and disciplinary proceedings. So here the SOX give the authority to the PCAOB to do the investigation, and if they found anyone guilty, any CPA or CPA firm guilty, then they can do the disciplinary proceedings against that. Right? PCAOB may investigate any violation of the provision of the SOX or the rule of the PCAOB, the provision of security law. So they have the authority to do the inspection and investigation when they are conducting the review of like any CPA firm quality control standard, or when they are reviewing the individual engagement audit work paper, right? At that point of time, they can further go into the investigation. So initially they might be doing the review, but if they found anything you can say wrong or anything in violation of any rule, then they can go into an investigation mode and they can do the investigation for any or all the violation of provision of the SOX, rule of the PCAOB and the security laws. What are the security laws? Security Act 1933 and Security Exchange Act
1934.
1934 relating to the preparation and issue of the audit report, right? What are the possible disciplinary sanction that PCAOB can issue? One is they can temporarily suspend or permanently revoke the registration of the CPA firm. So if you see in like this Satyam scam, the PCAOB has temporarily suspended PwC for 3 years. For 2018, 19, and 20, they were not allowed to do the audit of public company. Do you know that? So they have, for 3 years, they have temporarily suspended PwC to conduct the audit of the issuers, any new issuers, right? Second is temporary or permanent suspension or bar of the person from further association with the registered firm. Same way, the partner who has signed the Satyam financial statement, which is found guilty, their license they have suspended and they have put bar on that person. That person cannot serve as a CPA or serve to any listed company, and they cannot associate with any registered firm. Registered firm means the firm which is being registered with the PCAOB. They can conduct the audit, they can work with the CPA firm, but the CPA firm who is not doing audit of any issuer, right?
Sir, I have a doubt, sir. Sir, जैसे सत्यम केस हुआ था, in that case, PwC was suspended from working or taking up any other audit. Okay, so that those sanctions were imposed by PCAOB only and not by any government entity in India.
Yes, PCAOB has put like the other government or other regulatory authority also put like their respective proceeding, but the heaviest proceeding were from the PCAOB. They have put $20 million of fine to them.
And I think SEC, Indian SEC also banned PwC for conducting audit of any issue company in India for 2 years.
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
2018, 19, and 20. 3 years.
Sir, a question here. PwC, like was Satyam listed on the US Stock Exchange?
Yes,
I mean,
New York Stock Exchange.
okay.
Also.
Okay.
That was listed on both in India as well as
US. Okay.
Right. Okay. So next one is temporary.
Sorry, one more question. Sorry. So like most of the companies, what I have seen is like Indian companies. They are not listed in India, but they go and list themselves in this US. Is there a specific reason for that? Why do they do this? Because compliance
fundraising is easy. Fundraising is easy. If you see in India, less than 3.5% people do the investment in stock market, whereas in US, almost 57% of US citizens do the investment in stock market.
Okay.
Similarly, in United Kingdom also, most of the companies have their headquarters or the funding is done from the US. So they register, incorporate their companies in UK, but they also are registered in US because they are issuing their American depository receipts or they issue shares in US market because the funding is very easy in US because that's a very capital invested country as compared to other countries.
Yes, and in addition to that, also like we have also built a crowdfunding platform recently, and we are planning to register them in Delaware. So in US, like crowdfunding is also like laws are very relaxed as compared to in India. Earlier it was banned, but recently it has started. So maybe in 2021 only they have done some amendment. But in US, like fundings and is very easy and at very cheap price also, right? Comparatively to Indian pricing, like ECB is also at very low cost. And then like in the global market, it is easy to showcase your company as well if you are registered with in USA.
Okay. Okay.
So they are business rationale to it, basically.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. So next one is temporary or permanent limitation on the activity, functioning, or operation of such firm or person. So like the temporary or permanent limitations means they can limit you to do like maximum 10 listed company audit, 15 limited company audit, or 20 company audit, or something like that. That's also authority that PCAOB do have. And they can restrict that respective partners not to participate in the listed company audit. So those are kind of limitation also PCAOB has authority to put on the respective CPA firm. Next is penalty for each violation. Not more than $100,000 for natural person. So for individual, that means for the partners, manager, or senior manager, not more than $100,000, or $2 million for any other person, that is a CPA firm, or if you are a consulting company, or you have any institution or trust, right? So that can go up to $2 million. Intentionally or known misconduct. If you have done intentionally or intentionally, or you have done a non-misconduct, then in that case of scenario, fine can go up to $750,000 for a natural person and $15 million for any other person. Any other person means CPA firm or a consulting company or any institution, right? So this $15 million plus additional certain penalties clubbed together has hit $20 million to the PwC. Next one is seizure of the license.
Sir, one doubt. What do you mean by the natural person? Have they defined any designation like senior manager or above, or the signing authority only?
No, like individuals.
Okay,
Right.
I have to be careful now then.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And after being a manager, it's more important. Next one is seizure of license. That means disapproval of the license or discontinuing of the license. So they can ask AICPA to discontinue your CPA license as well. So they can order AICPA, or they can send a letter to the AICPA to discontinue your license as well. Next is required additional professional education or training. So maybe if like you can say default is not severe, they can ask you to do the additional professional education. Like for example, you need to normally every CPA need to do 20 hours of CPE credit after their qualification, right? They can ask you to conduct like 100 hours of CPE on this topic. So that also kind of you can say disciplinary action they can take against the CPA. Next is other appropriate sanction provided for in the rule of PCAOB, and PCAOB will strictly sanction. One is intentional or knowing conduct result into violation of applicable statutory, regulatory, and professional standard, and repeated instance. So if you have done any repeated instance, then PCAOB will take it more strictly. Right? Sanction are reported to SEC, State License Board, and public. So all the sanctions which PCAOB will be making against the CPA or the CPA firm will be informed to the Security Exchange Commission, AICPA, and your respective State Board of Accounting, who has issued the license to you, and to the general public at large. Right? So these are all authorities that PCAOB have against the CPA and CPA firm for any disciplinary issue. Right? Any doubt? So far, so good?
Sir, in E point, it is CEN, sir, I think.
Sorry?
In point E, it is CENSURE, sir.
Oh my God, CEN. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Thanks, Sandeep. I have also missed it. Okay, next one is SOX 106, foreign public accounting firm. That means now let's say what we have discussed earlier is of the CPA firm who are in US. Now you are a CPA firm in India and you are providing services to the listed client in USA. For example, like this offshore services company like EYGDS, KGS, right, PwC, SDC, right? So all these companies who are providing services to the listed company audit in USA. So foreign public accounting firm prepare and issue audit report of SEC issuer, then same rules apply to foreign public accounting firm as well. So that means what all the rules and regulation which we have discussed earlier is being applied to you as well if you are supporting to audit of any listed company in USA. Right? Make sense? Yes, no, कुछ तो बोल दो. Are you guys with me? नींद तो नहीं आ रही?
हाँ सर, we are with you.
हाँ, ज़्यादा socks तो नहीं हो रहा है. But this is very important for your professional practice as well as from the exam standpoint of view also. This is a very important topic. Next is 107, commission oversight of the board. Commissions, wherever it is mentioned commission, that means Security Exchange Commission, right? So it's not your perks, it's commission means Security Exchange Commission. So these are the short form you may be seeing in your exams question also, right? That's the reason like I've kept it as it is, but I'm informing you commission means Security Exchange Commission, right? Board mean
PCAOB.
Right? So these are the terminology you should be comfortable with, because like in exam and in your MCQ also you will see like such kind of language has been used, and at that point of time you should not get confused what is commission over there. Right? SEC oversight PCAOB, like we were discussing in terms of hierarchy. So SEC, Security Exchange Commission, they do oversight of the PCAOB, and PCAOB rules become effective only after the approval from the Security Exchange Commission. And Security Exchange Commission is part of the Congress, right? Who approve the rules and regulation for the PCAOB. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Next is accounting standard, SOX 108 accounting standard. So SEC permit accounting principle established by the standard setting body apply for the issuer. That means FASB as well as IASB. What is FASB?
FASB is a financial
Accounting Standard Board.
accounting standard board.
So what they issue?
Issue US GAAP.
Yeah,
I guess.
generally
US
accounting standards.
What is IASB?
So IASB International Accounting Board.
IFRS, they issue IFRS.
What they
IFRS.
issue?
IFRS.
IFRS. So why the both is being mentioned here?
Both, sir, the both?
Why both have mentioned here, FASB and IASB?
Because sometimes for some issuers, they need to prepare financial statements as per the IFRS because they have the presence in more than one country.
Yes.
So FASB is for the local gap basically, and ISB for IFRS.
Yes. So Security Exchange Commission, I'm clarifying that Security Exchange Commission allow to the issuer, they can prepare their financial statement either in US GAAP or in IFRS if they have presence outside USA as well. Right? If the company is only have operation in USA, then they need to follow US GAAP. But if they have operation in outside USA also, then they have option, they can choose IFRS or US GAAP. Yes, Kashish, you were saying something?
But sir, in most of the cases we are following US GAAP, no? 99%.
Yes.
But if if we have a setup in some other country, then we will see like we have to follow IFRS or US GAAP.
Yes, that's completely on management discretion.
And that is done, before we are auditing, what we will have to follow, whether US GAAP or IFRS, right?
Yes, they will provide in the financial statement, what gap they are following, whether they are following US GAAP or they are following IFRS.
Okay.
This will be written in your engagement letter as well, at the time of acceptance of an engagement,
Yes.
right?
So these all the things would have been done, prior to the MOM and prior to the meeting has been fixed, right?
We are coming to that. We are coming to that. There's something which you need to consider before accepting or continuing an engagement, and there are something which you need to follow throughout the journey of your audit as well.
Okay.
So, like after once we are done with SOX stuff, the next thing is acceptance and continuance of engagement. So, where you get to know what all things you need to consider before accepting any engagement.
Okay.
Right.